Hey y'all, it's me and Cleo. I am sitting here in my art room and I'm actually by myself this afternoon. Raise this up a bit. Aaron and Corey have gone to a festival over in Hendersonville, um, and Hugh and Aiden have been working on Aiden's Jeep all week. They have it on the road and they decided to take a road trip just to make sure everything is fixed with it. So that's what's going on. I'm here by myself. It's quiet. The dogs are being quiet for a few minutes, and I thought I'm just gonna go talk to my buddies. And it's been a it's been a strange week. Um, we've had some difficult moments and some good moments. You all know that Tuesday would have been Jared's 33rd birthday. So it's a hard week. Those of you that have lost loved ones, you know those special days are a little difficult to get through. Um, but we got through it, and something amazing happened on that day. Any of you that watch Aaron's videos, you know that um, we had a calf born on Jared's birthday. The interesting thing about that is that we have one of our mama cows had been Jared's cow. Um, he just had two cows when he left life, but he was beginning to build his little herd, and so we ended up with that particular mama cow. Our neighbor had the other, and the crazy thing was that her very first calf to be born was born in 2018 on December 31st. That was Jared's angelversary. And so no one can tell me this is coincidence, that it's Jared's cow, and that first baby was born on his death date. And then the cow this week was born on his birthday, and both from the cow that had belonged to him. So he sends us little signs every now and then to just to remind us that he's here with us, he's watching out for us, and we appreciate that. We love him to the moon and back and miss him horrendously. And anytime that we have just a reminder that he's around, we just very much appreciate it. So I thought I'd just give you that update. We've had some sad things happen this week. Um, about 3 days ago, we found our mama peacock, and she had been killed. Of course, you know we have the bird lot all closed in, so our birds are protected, but the peacocks, you don't contain the peacocks. They fly, and most of the time they roost really high. She most of the time would roost in the top of a tree line over beside one of our little creeks, and I would watch her fly out of the tree in the morning, and she would be way up in the top of it. Ferdinand sometimes roosts on the top of the house here, but she had been trying to find a spot um, to nest, and as a matter of fact, she had laid one egg that was under Aaron's Suburban. I got that one and wrapped it up in some napkins and put it in the kitchen just to keep it safe until we found where she was nesting, because then we could put that one in with her. Uh, Peacocks and geese also will lay numerous eggs before they actually settle in to lay on those eggs to hatch them. So I think that they're actually viable for up to 2 weeks after they're laid. So as long as that mama finally settles in on them within that 2 week window, she can warm them up, and they will eventually hatch. So we haven't found where her other nest was at, but I called a friend of mine who actually has incubators, and she has some geese eggs right now in the incubator. So I called her and I said, Holly, we have this one peacock egg, and our peacock, she's been killed, and I would love to see if this peacock egg is still viable. So the peacock egg now is in Holly's incubator, and we'll know in about 4 weeks whether it was viable or not. I hope so. Not sure how we will raise a peacock baby. We've got to do a lot of research just in case, and maybe find at least one sibling for her or him, whatever it might be, because I don't know. I know absolutely nothing about a peacock. So that one's just, let me dismiss that. So we've got to do some research and find out. So it's been a very, very interesting week, sad, and just some sweet things happened also. But I've just kind of laid low, worked in my garden a little bit, planted some zinnias, and worked in the Japanese beetle war. Hugh and I both, just almost every morning and every evening, we have been in the garden picking the Japanese beetles, or actually just kind of shaking them off the plants into our little water cup. Lisa Ziegler calls it the cup of death. that sounds so terrible, but anyway, it's either that or the beans, they'll be a waste. If you allow Japanese beetles to just run their course, they will absolutely decimate everything. Now, I will tell you that apparently they will lay 60 to 80 offspring in a season. So for every female that you end their life cycle, that's 60 to 80 you won't be fighting next year. And that's what I'm hoping, that we're going to get ahead of them this year, so that next year won't be nearly as bad. Let's just hold on to that. And if y'all are fighting the Japanese beetle war, let me know what you're doing that will help. I don't, some of you had mentioned spraying them with soapy water. I've used that kind of treatment before, and I find that as hot as it is right now, that's really, really hard on the plant itself. But also, we're unwilling to do anything that will cause any damage to our beneficial insects. And right now we have captured, on accident, which is still wonderful, we have captured a nest of bees, or swarm of bees, and they have taken up residence in one of the nests down there. So we don't want to do anything to jeopardize that. But if anybody has a natural something that doesn't damage the plant and doesn't damage the beneficial insects, but will help a little bit with the Japanese beetle, we're open to suggestions on that. Otherwise, we'll just continue fighting the Japanese beetle war manually, just a little every day. And it takes us about an hour. If you and I both are working together, it takes us about an hour in the morning and an hour in the evening to walk through and get as many beetles off as we see. And we come away with literally hundreds and hundreds and hundreds in our cup every single time. So another thing that I had listened to Lisa Ziegler and an insect expert this past week. This insect expert was talking about the Japanese beetle. They lay their egg in the soil, and then they go through their life cycle, which is a fairly long life cycle, their grub and everything, and then they come back out in the spring. But if there's a real hot, dry time, it sometimes will kill that grub. I'm hoping that has happened, because we had a real hot, dry cycle the last week or so, and then we have a hot, dry cycle coming up this next week. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. What will happen. Okay, I'm going to turn you around and show you. I finally got my my board on the wall, so you can see what I was talking about with this big painting. And now, of course, this painting let me move this chair. This painting will not have what's on it right now. It's going to be all whited out, and I'm starting over. I showed you the photograph that I'm going to be using, which I don't have it redesigned yet, but it's going to be this, just brightened up a bit, and it will be, I'll recut my paper so that it will be like this 5-panel piece that I have there. And this is the 5-panel piece that I was working from for that particular painting. So anyway, so when this painting actually hangs on the wall, you don't see, you know, this is my my easel that I've got on the wall, my makeshift easel. So you don't see any of that between the boards or between the panels. You just see the wall. So you've got the smallest one there on the end, and then a little bit taller one beside of it, comes down to the same height, and then the really big one right there in the middle, and it comes down lower than all the rest, and then another one over there on that end that comes down to the same length as the first two. So that's what I was trying to explain to you last week. And I've been in the process of painting the gesso on my little boards. So I've got 5 here on the table ready to sand as soon as the gesso, I put another coat on them today. So as soon as the gesso dries, I'll be taking those out on the porch and sanding them, and they'll be ready to paint on. But I've got to put the white on those in there, and then they will be ready to paint on. So that's exciting to me. I'm getting really excited about painting again. Let's talk to Cleo for a minute. She just she doesn't actually her body's just never straight up and down. She's always at an angle. So I'm thinking, let me see, can you see that? I mean, she's just, it's like she's sideways all the time. So I don't know, there must be a pretty heavy current inside this fish tank. I can see the water at the top moving pretty good where the filter puts the water back in. But I don't know, she's just funny. She just never actually swims straight up and down. She's just always sideways. What a funny fish. Oh my goodness. But I do like this spot in here, especially since I put my air conditioner in last week. This room is miserable without an air conditioner. Even every window open and a fan in it is just so hot because it, you know, that's the west side of the house, and it's just really hot in here. And I'm thankful to have air conditioning. I'm not going to complain about this room being where it's at. It's a perfect room for painting in because I have, you know, the 2 windows on the both walls with lots of light, and that makes me happy. This coming week, Hugh and I will start canning, and I'll be canning our green beans and working in the basement at the same time. I've got this canning shelf downstairs that I had intended at one point to empty all those jars, run them through the dishwasher, and have them ready for canning season. And then I started thinking about that, and I told Hugh, I said, you know, it really doesn't make sense to pre-wash those jars and put them back on the shelves downstairs, because when I do that, when I bring them back, I'm going to have to wash them. You'll have to send them through the wash cycle again. So instead, I'll wash a load each day to run in the canner, and just clean up down there as I go. It's a disaster down there, and it's musty. So I'm pretty certain we probably need to get a big dehumidifier down there. But one more big appliance in this house. It's just the electric bill is not pretty. It's not. But yeah, it's hard to be down there. It's just musty, and if any of y'all have allergies, and I do, I have allergies. I can go down the steps and I just kind of feel my head go woof. So I'm either going to have to find some kind of a filter that I can wear, some kind of a mask that I can wear to filter out the must. But I've got to clean up down there. My mother-in-law and my sister-in-law, um, they saved everything. They really just didn't get rid of anything. So there's a lot of things downstairs that need to be cleaned up and just taken to the Habitat store, and let them sell it for so to have a purpose. But anyway, there's just that down there has just been me dragging my feet. I don't like to be down in the basement, and so I put it off. And I can always find something to do to put it off. Do y'all have any jobs like that that's just kind of hanging over your head or around your neck, and you keep thinking, yeah, that really needs to be done, but I think I need to do this thing over here worse. So I'm going to work on this over here, and I'll start on that next week. At some point next week has to get here. So I think that's where I'm at. I'm at next week. It has to get here. Yeah. We have we purchased a freezer about a month ago, and I haven't even taken it out of the wrappings yet because that freezer is specifically to put a side of beef in, and we'll be taking we'll be taking one of our it hurts my heart to say this, but one of our cows will be going, or two of our cows actually, we've sold part of them, will be going to the processor on the 14th of August, and so and then we'll be picking them up at the end of August. So I've got to get my area for that cleaned and ready, and Hugh's got to run wire for it specifically because he likes, for the freezers, for the big appliances like that, he likes for them to have their own whatever those things are called that I can't think what they're called, but it goes into the electrical box, and they'll trip if something. So it needs one of those by itself, but Hugh has to run the wire and get me a plug down there so that we can get that done. So that one is it's next week, and it has to be done now. But anyway, what else is going on? I'm getting ready to do some fermenting. Might make a video for that. Some of y'all might be interested in doing some fermenting. And Hugh and I had taken some classes several years ago at the Mother Earth News Conference that was in Asheville. There was two back-to-back, or 2 years back-to-back, and there was some really good classes on fermenting. So I'm going to do that with some of the beets that are out of the garden, some of Hugh's cabbages, and now that we have our old refrigerator on the front porch, for eggs, that's going to be a perfect place to also keep the ferments because they take up a lot of room in the refrigerator. So that will I've got that space now. I'm going to use it. I'm going to fill the thing full of all kinds of ferment. And what else do we have out there for me to ferment? I don't know. I've got, the tomatoes are looking wonderful. My peppers are great. And I've got lots of peppers that I've got to actually get in the garden this week. 2 trays of peppers that have to go in the garden by the end of the week. I think I'll get them out there. Corn, that will just go in the freezer. Have a lot of flowers. I'll take you guys down doing one of the shorts. I'll take you down and show you the flowers doing one of the shorts this next week. And what else? I think that kind of catches everything up, y'all. Just an odd week, and I had hoped to have the shorts out at least every other day just to say hi, but it has been just kind of a chaotic week, but also one of those very emotional roller coaster weeks. and I know y'all understand that. But I did want to just touch base, show you what's going on in here in my studio, and tell you what's the plan for this coming week. Getting ready to start canning. And thankfully he did plant the beans a couple rows at a time. So I think that he and Aiden will probably sell a lot of the beans. That we won't need all of those, because I think he planted about 8 or 10 rows, 150 feet long, something like that. I mean, he planted a lot of beans, so we won't use nearly all of those. We'll sell some. We'll call the gleaners and have the gleaners come and pick for the soup kitchens, and we won't let them go to waste. And then probably in about 3 weeks we'll have tomatoes ready. And tomatoes I don't mind. Tomatoes are easy to can. They don't take any time at all. Beans take all day. They just do. They take all day. When beans are ready, my heart just kind of falls when you says there'll be beans ready to pick tomorrow. So, okay. But if you're going to have them on the shelf, you got to do them. So we'll get the beans done. And the corn's easy to do because we just freeze that. We just cut that off the cob and blanch it and stick it in the freezer and in baggies. And but I'll hang out with you when we start doing those things. I'll hang out with you. And I know some of you had mentioned last year that you wanted to learn to can, and I know that there's plenty of canning. I hear. Let me see. I bet Papa and Aiden are back because the dogs are cutting up. But I also know, there's canning books out there, the Ball Blue book. But I also know that it's always, for me anyway, because I'm an artist, I'm a visual learner. It's always nice to see someone do something and explain it. I learn better that way. So I will go over the basics of canning and go through a canner run with y'all, especially for some of you younger women that would just like a hands-on tutelage, the best that hands-on I can do. But anyway, I'm going to go and see if that's Hugh Best and Aiden Connor. And sounded like his Jeep. I called him earlier. It sounded like his Jeep was doing wonderfully. And so I told Hugh, I said, why don't you just pick up some hamburger buns on the way home? I think we'll just grill. And he said, I'm not sure we'll be there. I think we're going to probably eat dinner out. So I said, well, that sounds good. You guys have a good day of it. So they've been gone for 3 or 4 hours now. They're having a good time. But I hope y'all are having a wonderful week. Or, yeah, we're just starting out. So do have a wonderful week. I'm going to have a wonderful week. This crowd around here is going to have a wonderful week. And we've got lots and lots and lots of things going on. Some that I'm looking forward to and some that I'm not looking forward to. But just get her done, right? All right, y'all. Love you to the moon and back. Take care. Bye-bye.